G'day mates, welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to be teaching you and your teammates how to become the best trio possible. This season was all about solos, but next season is trio FNCS and trio cash cups. So let's talk about the things you can do as a team to make you as good as possible and prepare you for next season. Don't worry, if you don't have teammates yet, I'm going to help you with that too. So please chuck a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and I hope you enjoy the video. I'm going to start off with the most important thing you can do to make sure you're improving as a team as fast as possible. And that's going to be knowing the roles of your team. So I've done a whole video on it that I'm going to put here on the screen, and I'll put in the description down below of how you can find out what role you should be in a team and what role your teammates should be. So go give that a look if you haven't already. And then let's jump into things you can now do as a team to make sure that once everyone knows their roles, what are you going to be doing to improve? All right, let's get you as good at winning fights as a trio as possible. It doesn't matter how good you are at endgame. If you can't get there and you can't consistently win fights, you're gonna struggle. Cash cups especially and open rounds of FNCS are always W key fest. You need to be winning fights. So what are the two main things I'd recommend for that? Firstly is doing creative practice. Going into 3v3 realistic maps. I'll put some examples of good ones on the screen here and in the description down below, but essentially they're just maps where you'll spawn in with random loadouts with your teammates versus another trio, and you can just practice fighting. This is where you want to start working on your roles when you fight. I talked about my video on roles when it comes to just as a team and specifically endgame, but when it comes to fighting, you want to have similar kind of roles. Specifically, I would try to figure out which one or two of your teammates is the best at getting on walls, taking walls, landing edits, and getting shots off and things like that. Kind of a bit more of your box fighters, and then find out who in your team has the best communication and decision making and usually good AR aim to sit up a little bit higher or sit back and pressure with their AR while the teammates take the walls. This is what you're going to want to do so you can win more fights, and realistics will let you do that. It'll let you kind of figure out who's best at what, and after a while of doing them and doing enough fights like this, you're eventually just going to have kind of like a sixth sense for what your teammates are doing. You're going to know when they're going to edit out. You're going to know when they want you to take a wall or hold a wall or land an edit. Things like that will become so much easier if you practice these 3v3s more often. Secondly is going to be arena. Very similar to realistics. Obviously, it's going to help you kind of just practice your fights, but it's also going to have that extra element of kind of RNG of are they going to be marauders? Are they going to be third parties? Things like that. But you're also going to have to practice your spawn fights. Now, spawn fighting is going to be really, really important. And don't worry, I've got a video coming soon on all my favorite trio drop spots in case you haven't found one yet. But you're going to want to get as much practice as you can in fighting around your spawn. I'm going to do whole videos on this in the future because it's a big part of trios about how to drop certain drop spots and how you should play early games. But honestly, arena is a really good way for you to practice it on your own and then start to break into practicing these fights with different roles. Now that we've been working on your early and mid game fights, you're going to have to work on playing in stacked endgames. When tournaments aren't on, sadly, the only real way to get practice is with endgame scrims. And as much as I'm not the biggest fan of them, I wish we could just have good practice in every region. I know it doesn't happen. So I'm going to link on the screen here and put in the description some discords that are really, really good for endgame scrims and run them as regularly as I know of in any region. And what you're going to want to do is try and play in these. You're going to need to get some experience endgame, specifically for your IGL and Tapa, so they can work on things that they can't do in arena and realistics. You can't practice how to tarp through a 40-man endgame in arena if there's not 40 people endgame. So you're going to want to make sure you get this skill down, and I'm going to do videos in the future on how to play endgames as best as possible. Check out my VOD reviews, check out my other videos, but the things you want to work on is just how to play these endgames. Start getting those things put together like I talked about with roles. Make sure your Tapa knows where they're going, make sure that you know when they need their mat refreshes, make sure if you're the IGL, you're making clear, concise communication, you're telling people where to go, and you're making good decisions. Endgame is going to how you're going to learn these things. And I hear a lot of people talk about, man, my team just gets super nervous and everything breaks down endgame. If you're only playing endgame in tournaments, that's going to happen because you've got no experience. Make sure you're trying to find endgame scrims and getting the practice in, so when tournaments come around, you can absolutely kill the endgames and you're super comfortable. You're super confident and no one gets nervous in your team and everyone knows what they're doing. Now let's talk about VOD reviewing. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of VOD reviewing as what most of my content's built around, and a lot of my videos are around you being able to learn your role better by watching another pro player. So let's say like you need to learn how to be a support fragger, so you go and watch my Benji Fishy video. That's great, but now you have a team, you need to start learning how to play with them and the mistakes you're making as a trio, so you're gonna have to do team VOD reviews. These are so insanely important. And if you're a team that's arguing a lot and you're having a lot of issues with communication and you're like, oh, they just don't understand, man. Like, why do we keep running out of mats? Man, why do you keep getting caught? Oh, you always get headshot snipes. Going back and VOD reviewing as a team will let you get both perspectives. It'll let them explain what they're doing wrong, and it can give you a chance to actually demonstrate to them why you're getting frustrated or showing them what they can be doing better. And maybe you'll realize that it's just unlucky, or okay, what happened there is they keep getting caught on the backside and they keep telling me it's my fault. But now that I've VOD reviewed it, I've realized I'm actually tapping too far ahead. So it's a bit of my issue because I'm going too far ahead, but it's also their issue because they're staying too far behind. You'll also start to figure out things like communication issues, like, hey man, when we're playing endgame, we can't really hear what's going on because you keep saying things that aren't important. You keep talking about like, oh man, the servers are so laggy. I almost hit that guy, man. I just missed the shot and it was crazy. Let's keep it important, man. How about all you need to do is mention, your materials, how much damage you've done. You can start to work on these issues you're having. And I guarantee no matter what role you are, understanding and looking at things from your other teammates' point of view will make you so much better. If you're realizing that as a fragger, you're taking way too long to get your material to the tapper at the front, and you start VOD reviewing and realize, hey man, on second rotating zone, when we've moved this far, I'll know that he's running out of mats around about now, and I'll start looking to go forward and get the materials. These kind of things are going to be huge. So it's not just about watching YouTube content like mine and going and finding other VODs of actual pro players. You need to VOD review your own games. And most importantly, if you can do it together as a trio in a Discord call, you can just do Discord screen share. It's the best way to do it. You can show exactly what you're watching and watch a game you've both played together, or all three of you, sorry. And you have two types of VODs. Obviously, you have replay files, which is going to be good to kind of zoom out and see what things are going on and where you should have gone as a team. But most importantly, you're going to want to try and record your gameplay. Whoever in your trio has a decent enough PC, download Streamlabs OBS, use NVIDIA Shadowplay, just record your gameplay, because then you can hear communication. And that's going to be one of the most important things for you to work on as a team. Now, if you don't know what's going wrong and you just don't know how to VOD review your own gameplay, don't worry. Check out the description down below. I'm actually doing viewer submitted VOD reviews where you can send me your gameplay and I'll actually make YouTube videos on it and give you advice on what you're doing wrong. I know a lot of my VOD reviews focus around pros, and you guys talk about how you want to just watch how the average player can improve. Well, now's your chance. It might even be you as well. So a lot of these VOD reviews are going to be done on my stream too. So check me out on twitch.tv/AussieAntics. I'm going to try and set a day a week where I go through these VOD reviews and just point out things you could be doing better and then turn them into YouTube videos. So if that interests you, check out the description. I wanted to make sure I included in today's video something about finding teammates. This can be for those of you who don't have teammates yet, or those of you who are in a team and things aren't quite working. I get asked a lot, hey man, I've got a team, but they just don't really listen to me. We argue all the time, but they're really good. My advice to you is going to be, if you show this to your friends or your teammates as a video and they don't really want to learn and they don't want to go through stuff with you and they just don't want to improve, I'd find new teammates. It's sometimes hard to do, but I'm going to try and make it easy for you. But I guarantee you, if you find teammates that are on the same page as you enjoy playing together and they want to improve, you're going to be so much better off than playing with friends or people you know who are better right now, but it just doesn't ever feel right. It's just you're not enjoying it and you're not getting anywhere, you're not improving. You've got a fair bit of time until FNCS starts. I'm imagining it's going to probably be like maybe 4 to 6 weeks away based on the new season only just starting and them normally giving you a break. So find teammates now that you want to practice with, start doing the things I've talked about in this video, and even within a week, I guarantee you as a trio will be so much better than any teammates you're currently playing with that won't practice. So let's talk about ways to find teammates. First off, I'm going to be advertising this pretty heavily on my trio videos because I want you guys to find good teammates, because one of the hardest parts is my Discord. I'm going to put it on the screen here. I'll put in the Discord link down below. I currently have about 8,000 members. It's a bit of like my stream, but it's also like competitive players. And on there, I've made a looking for groups section of all the 4 main regions that watch me. So OCE, NA East, NA West, and EU. And I've broken the channels into console and PC. So you can go in there and you can find a teammate. So, hey, I'm looking for a trio as a solo. I'm a fragger. I have $300 in earnings. I'm on EU region and I can play, you know, weekdays, 3 hours a day, and I really want to improve. Stuff like that. You can find teammates that actually want to improve with you. So other than my Discord, also, when I talked about endgame scrims and I linked a whole bunch of Discords that you can use to find teammates, those are also going to be great places, where you can find endgame scrims to play. They're also going to be great places to find teammates. So almost all those Discords will have looking for group sections. Just the one thing I want to make very clear when it comes to finding teammates and when it comes to being a trio, try to find people that aren't the best right now but want to improve. Too many of you guys, I find, set your standards way too high. I need to find a teammate that's already got $3,000 in earnings, has this much power ranking. Just find players who are good, that want to improve, that you enjoy playing with. You'll be so much better off, I promise you. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope this helps you prepare for Trio FNCS. I want to see you guys absolutely dominate next trios, and you have the time to do it if you start now and if you practice effectively. So I'm also going to be making way more trio content in the future. So if you haven't already, please subscribe and post notifications on. If you made it this far in the video, chuck a like on it. Let me know in the comment section down below, what kind of topics are you struggling with most as a trio? I'm going to be making a whole bunch of them, how to take early game fights, and I'll do a long video on this, the different roles of endgame, how to be a tarper, all that stuff's coming, I promise you. So I really hope you enjoyed today's video, wherever it is in the world, day, morning, night. I hope you have a good one, and I'll see you in the next one.